Hello and welcome to the Student Council Podcast, an educational advice show made for students and by students where everyone is qualified to talk about their own experiences. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Eleni Persinger, studying at Yale University. Eleni, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's very fun to have you on. I am curious. I like to ask everybody, do you have a favorite 5 minutes of the past week or a highlight of anything you've been doing fun?
Yeah, so yesterday, so this is our first semester and everything's kind of just started up, but that also means that there's a little less work, which is nice. And we have a open ice rink hour every week. And I went to the first one of the semester yesterday, and it was really cool because at the end of skating, I'm no pro or anything. I just go around in circles and that's about it. But they had competition practice, and I got to sit after the rehearsal and see all of them go through their routines, and it was so cool to see how graceful everyone was. It was a nice way to de-stress.
Absolutely, it is really fun. Ice skating, again, I was just saying before we started recording, it is something that I have so much admiration for people who can really do it really well and just even get out there, because it's such a I was surprised at how complicated it was when I tried it out. The biggest admiration for stuff like that, but that's really fun. Now, did you say winter semester is your first semester, or had you had a fall semester before this?
No, sorry. I just meant it's the first week of the semester.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. Okay.
First week of this semester, we just got back, so it's all very new again. So yeah.
Right. I feel the exact same way. That's totally fair. For a second, I was like, wait a second, is this a whole different structure of school? But
no, I might have been confusing though.
You're totally good. How did your first semester go overall? How's your overall college experience been at Yale?
I think it's cool. It's a little different than I expected, but one of the reasons that I really wanted to go here was that there were so many ways to meet people, especially structured and unstructured. And I really love my roommate and my just people I've met in classes, and there's so many opportunities to meet people, and everyone here is also really excited about meeting other people. So I feel the community here is really strong. The workload, however, was a lot harder than I expected. I thought it was going to be more equivalent to high school, but it was definitely a step up and a challenge. But it's, it's something, it's an adjustment time. So I think I survived first semester reasonably well, and I'm really happy with the people I've met.
That's really good. How big is Yale, actually? I don't know if I know the number.
I don't know if I know either. I think it's 1,400 in the freshman class, so that probably comes out to somewhere between 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000, I don't know, somewhere around there. Yeah.
That's totally fair. What were some of the big ways to get together socially? I feel we had a lot of social gatherings at the start of the first semester, and then it kind of dropped off from there. But what did you, any big moments that stuck out?
I think the university tries to have big events. We had a Bulldog Bash, which was really near the beginning, and it was just this giant party out on the freshman quad. So all freshmen stay on one block that has green space in the middle, and they're surrounded by the dorms for the freshmen. And we had a big party there. We also had Fall Fest, which was an October celebration of all the harvests. So they had amazing food and lots of cool decorations there. But I think where I've really met people is just through friends, or just the fact that I think that it's just encouraged to get together with other people. It's a very collaborative environment in classes. They're always yeah, work on your pieces together, these are hard, stuff like that. Or there's a lot of different ways to meet people. We have freshman orientation, which is we come to campus a few days earlier than everyone else, and we do a program that's either hiking with a small group of people, or we go do volunteer work. That's what I did. I went and worked at what's called the Eli Whitney Museum, and it's a children's nature museum, and they have kits, and they have a nice hiking trail. So I'm not sure what they do during the summer, but they have a lot of programming, and we help set up some of their kits that they have for kids to make DIY things and stuff like that.
That is really cool. Wow, that's a really smart idea of either connecting with people through nature or connecting people through volunteering. They're so those are both really, really fun, because I feel I've connected with a lot of people through doing volunteer stuff. I always love catching up with people on hikes and stuff when I'm back in the area. So those are really, really smart ways of doing things. What's the general campus of Yale? Is it super nature heavy? Is it more of a city kind of area? What's the balance there?
I think to give you an idea of maybe what Yale is so when you look up on Google things to do in New Haven, number one is Yale University. So it's basically the center of New Haven, but it's still a consolidated campus. It's not dispersed throughout the city. So you could definitely not interact with Yale at all if you were here, but you could also, it's very accessible. So I think it's nice because we are near a lot of things in the center of everything. our campus bookstore is actually a Barnes and Noble as well that's open to the general public, so that's really nice to have. But yeah, it's actually we have different parts. So we have like where the freshmen stay, which is kind of a little bit more towards the south, and then we have cross campus, which is central. We have all our libraries and some dining halls and some other academic buildings. And then if you keep going up, we have what we call Science Hill, which is like they have all these big, like more industrial buildings where they have labs and lots of science classes. It is a little bit of a trek if you're a freshman on Old Campus, but it's definitely worth it, and you can make it in time, which is nice.
That is really nice. I'm flipping through the pictures of Yale right now too, and I'm like, this is very gorgeous. It gives me it all like Hogwarts aesthetics. If I'm not gonna lie to you. But no,
It is.
really cool.
I sometimes forget to appreciate it, and then I just look up and I'm like, wow, where am I going? Like, this is insane.
I feel the same way. It reminds me a lot of U of M has a law quad that looks kind of like it's very similar aesthetics to Yale, but then like the business building super new age, and then like a lot of variety, which is nice. But this is such a beautiful campus, and I am curious as well. What are you studying at Yale? How did you kind of make that decision to study that?
So I'm planning on studying mathematics, hopefully pure mathematics, but I might branch out into exploring some applied math or physics. I'm not sure yet. But I've been doing math for my whole life, and I really fell in love with it after doing like summer camps that were focused around math and meeting a lot of people that were super interested and curious the same way I was. So it kind of helped me actually find a community through math. And that's why I want to continue it here. But I'm really glad that I also get to branch out because Yale, you need like 12 courses for your major, and then like you can have 12 courses like dedicated-ish to like distribution requirements, and then like the other 12 you can just do with whatever you want. So you could literally just take a random course, and like so there's a lot of freedom. But I'm excited to branch out other than math, and like I'm exploring. I want to try some like economics maybe, or linguistics, and also I'm learning Chinese because that's kind of been a dream of mine. And I did just like taking seminar classes that are just very interesting and niche topics that you probably wouldn't see normally.
That's really awesome. Is that like, yeah, no, I feel like I've always known you. Even I remember I said it at the top of the episode, but like we were on a quiz bowl team together, and I feel like it was always like Eleni is the math person for as long as I've known. So that's really cool that you're studying that there. Career wise, have you thought of like what field you'd want to kind of go into after college?
I think the reason that I actually am considering a different major, or like considering exploring outside of just like pure math, is that I don't really know. I think the nice thing about math is it has a lot of applications just by its nature. So I'm gonna kind of wait and see what happens. But one established path out of pure math is going into grad school and becoming like professor or working in academia of some sort, doing research, stuff like that. I'm not sure if that's what I want, but that is definitely an option.
For sure. Yeah, that would be a really interesting path. Like it is interesting when you see those paths that go kind of right from college into like an academia role. Like I want to talk to some professors kind of to talk about that exact phenomenon. But that's kind of beyond the point of everything. I want to keep talking about Yale, and I also want to get into some of like the bigger, broader questions that I love to ask everybody. But what is the first one here is like, what is one of the most impactful pieces of advice that somebody has given to you?
Actually, I think something that's really hit me recently is my Chinese professor said that there's this like Chinese saying that's like, it doesn't matter if you're slow, as long as you get there. So it doesn't matter especially going to a university where everyone is so like academically talented, it's really hard to be like, wow, they're like completing this so much quicker than I am, or I just feel like I'm struggling a lot. But the thing is that everyone comes from different backgrounds, and what I've learned from going to mathematics camps and stuff, that yes, there will be people who will be faster, but that might just mean that they spent a lot of time before that already working with the material. And if you're new at it, like it makes sense that it might take a little bit longer to absorb. So it's more of a just, do what you can on your own pace, and you'll get there. And it doesn't matter. We all end up in the same place. So yeah.
Yeah, 10,000% agree. I love that piece of advice. It is something I think, especially in college, especially as like first, second semester of college, it is so easy to get swept up in that idea of like, but there are people who do this faster than me, but there are people who like, one of my classes, it's an interesting process of how they're doing the grading system, but it's not like you start at 100% and then you have to maintain it. You like earn points along the way, which is really interesting. It's a neat concept and I like it. And you can see like you can get basically a box plot of everybody, how everybody's doing in the course. And I feel okay with where I'm at, but it's like you can see that box plot and you're like, there's somebody with more points than I do. But like, and it's something where it's so easy to get tangled into that kind of headspace of like, how these ranking, like if it's rankings or if it's grades or if it's like who's completing assignments quicker. But I think it is such a really good idea that it's like you all kind of get there at the same time. And yeah, being slow does not have anything to say about like intelligence. It doesn't have anything to say about like, it's not just like there's no one metric to measure like how everybody thinks and how everybody operates. separate. So I really like that piece of advice.
Yeah.
This is, for fear of not being redundant, I also like to ask people about an ultimate tip, which is just like a big piece of advice that you would want to give to somebody maybe going into college or kind of into this world.
I think I just say don't stress. It's a lot easier said than done, but in the end, it's a whole experience. It's not just getting like perfect grades or trying to maintain the perfect like social balance or doing everything you can. There's just so many options that just follow what your passion and don't worry about what other people are like. There's going to be a lot of different pressures, and it's a great opportunity to branch out and explore, but never lose sight of yourself. Just don't take anything too seriously, and I think it'll be all good.
I wholeheartedly agree in every facet. I think it's a really good piece of advice, easier said than done, but still really important to always kind of keep in the back of your mind. I want to circle back to Yale a little bit and kind of going to college. I want to first like talk about what led you to your decision of going to Yale of all the schools that you were looking at and applied to, and also what are some of the expectations that you had going in and how did those shift once you got to the school?
Yeah, so before applying to colleges, I definitely did a lot of research on different colleges and especially regarding their like vibe and just like general like mission or like what they focus on. And I feel like that helps me realize what I wanted in college. And what I really was looking for was a community, like a very strong community. So that was probably the number one reason I picked Yale. But other than that, obviously academics and offerings in the subjects I was interested in. So yeah, I think I applied to places that I would have been happy to go to all of them. But what really made me choose Yale was the fact that I feel like everything here related to like community and social life and meeting people is very above and beyond. Some places I feel like emphasize like, oh, I would always want to know what the answer to the question of what's the best thing about X college or what's your favorite thing about X college to students of that college. And if they didn't say the people, I would be concerned because that's honestly what's making your college experience. Like there's, of course, they all offer academics, right? And I feel like if you really think about it, like in the end, like they're all fairly similar in terms of like offerings, because you look at the courses and it's like, yeah, maybe they have one more of this one or one less of this one, but whatever, like that's splitting hairs. And I really think that the people are going to be the ones that make your experience what it is. So when I visited Yale and when they said that the best thing is the people and just opportunities to like engage with others is just that's when I knew that it was for me.
That's amazing. I think that from every other answer that you've given about how much Yale emphasizes like connection and getting first year students together and really building those like camaraderie, I totally see how that could be such a strong piece of college. And I think you're 10,000% correct that like that is the big part of any school that you go to. I think at the end of the day, touring college is a little bit of a vibe check. Like you can look at all the stats and stuff, and that's very important, but it's also like how did you groove with people? Like one of the reasons I really came to U of M was like I really like people from our high school who went to U of M, and then I was like meeting a couple of like ambassadors in the programs I was looking at, and I'm like I just felt a click, I felt that connection, and I'm like okay, I feel like I could really see myself vibing with the people here. So it's such a key element to all of that. And speaking of key elements, what is a key element to your dorm room? Do you have a dorm room essential that you want to give out to people?
I don't know. I think for me, I really like that my dorm feels very homey. So definitely bring something from home that will make you feel like this is your home. You want the dorm to be like a space for you, not just like a place to crash and kind of be like whatever. So definitely for me, I have some posters of like Monet paintings that I love his work. So that's made the walls a lot less dreary. Other than that, though, I think just, probably the basic something, if your college allows it, microwave and fridge, it's so much easier than like going to the dining hall if possible, but sometimes it's not allowed, but usually they'll have some sort of microwave and fridge somewhere within the dorm if it's not allowed in your room. But yeah, just make it yours.
Completely agree. Such a key element to dorm, making it an actual livable space that feels a bit like home. Speaking further of dorms and housing, is Yale, what is like the housing expectation at Yale? Are you expected to move to an apartment in New Haven outside of like your first year there, or is it like you live in dorms for the whole experience?
So dorms are mandatory. You have to stay in dorms for at least 2 years, but most people stay on campus all 4 years. Just I think mostly probably because of the community. And something really interesting about Yale is we have like a residential college system. Basically, a residential college is a dorm, but it's like Hogwarts. This really is why Yale is Hogwarts. So you're sorted randomly
Oh
into
my gosh.
one of the 14 houses, and first year you all live on an old campus quad, like I said. But after your first year, you move into that college with all the upperclassmen in the college, and each college has its own dining hall, and then they have like gyms and other things. We have what is called a buttery, which is basically like late night, really cheap food, like subsidized. Like they have this really good, like, I don't know, chicken like barbecue in like a tortilla and cheese and melted. It's like $1. It's so amazing. So definitely recommend that. But yeah, it's the I think just because there's so much connection and a lot of things are oriented around your college that a lot of people stay. But there are options to move off campus if you want to do that. And there's also some Greek life, but it's very small.
Totally. That sounds really interesting. I have to ask, do the 14 houses all have different animal mascots and or colors?
Yes, we have
Oh
a
my gosh.
crest for each residential college. So our crest is like a shield with a blue banner on top and like a yellow banner on top and blue on the bottom half, and then we have like books on it. It's like all academia and stuff. And then our mascot is a squirrel, so we're the Brantford Squirrels. It's maybe not the most menacing animal that you could think of, but I think it's cute, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely. It's definitely giving me Ravenclaw energy if there was any kind of bird mascot to it, with all the books and academia. But I pulled up the crests. These are all very cool. Some of these definitely give me like Hogwarts energy. Some of them look like logos to like English football teams.
Yeah.
But it's such a fun and unique concept. Do you really like that kind of, do you find you get like a good community within your little college, and do you find that to be like a helpful system?
Yeah, I think I will definitely experience it even more when I move into
Mm-hmm.
the college because I feel a little bit disconnected from the upperclassmen. But the nice thing about living on old campus where the freshmen are, we still are living with people who will be in our college next year. So like people across the hall will still be in the college. So we are already kind of forming those like friendships that will continue when we move in. So I think and we get all the benefits of being in the college even though we're not physically there. They have events. We had like a Halloween event, or we have like parties on the lawn, or like to welcome in new seasons and stuff like that. So it's all really nice to see the same faces.
That's really awesome. I want to jump back to some dining hall food. Maybe it'll be at that like late night subsidized food location, which sounds absolutely awesome. You said it was called the Buttery?
Yes.
And
I don't know
amazing.
where they get that from at all, but it's the buttery. But every residential college has their own dining hall. You might even want to look these up on Google because they are absolutely insane. They're also like decorated during the holidays. Like one of some colleges do different things, but like you just see like it's literally Hogwarts. They've got like hanging candles and like spider webs and like for fall, and then I can't wait to see what they do for Lunar New Year is coming up, and then there will be like spring, and the dining halls themselves are just absolutely gorgeous. There's all this wood paneling and ornate decorations and high ceilings. It's very special, that's for
This
sure.
is the Great Hall, Eleni. This is the Great Hall from Hogwarts. Like, this is crazy. That's so cool. I want to ask, do you have a favorite bite of dining hall food? Is there something that really stuck out to you?
Well, the interesting thing is that even though we have 14, the meals that they serve at any one time is the same. So you can go to any dining hall and get the same food, which is cool and sometimes annoying if you're like, I don't like it. But I
Mm-hmm.
have to say, I'm not complaining because Yale food most people don't like college food or have something to say about it. But here it really is like over the top. There's a lot of money that Yale has that they don't put towards good things, but I feel like one thing that they are doing is serving us edible food, and more than just edible. I feel kind of like pampered. They have like one time they had mussels, and I was just like, what is this? like
They had mussels?
I'm just fine with like a piece of chicken or something, but if you're gonna do that, I'll take it. So that was really cool. I think what I like though is they have a good variety though, and it is nice. It's easy to find like healthy food here. But since it's so good, it's definitely hard to hold back from getting a lot of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think one of my favorites is actually we do have one unique like dining hall. It's called Commons. It opened recently, like a year or two ago. And what they do is they have like specialized vendors like inside that like serve the same meal every weekday, but while the rest of the dining halls like change like on a normal schedule. But they have this really good Asian one where you can either get dumplings or you can get like yangjang pork with black bean sauce, and it's like so good. And they serve you like a 2 to 3 times portion. Well, I'm a small person, so for me it's 2 to 3 times. I get to
Hmm.
eat that meal like multiple times in a row, and that just makes me so happy. day.
That is absolutely amazing, man. These dining halls seem incredibly cool. I'm on a Forbes article right now, and there's like a late night lounge within it's called, I think it says within the center. Have you been to this lounge?
What's the lounge called? Does it say or?
It says it's within the center. Pay as you go room, not on the meal plan. I don't know. I'll throw a picture in the Zoom, but it
Okay.
seems very cool.
That is cool. We have a lot of different places. We have the Good Life Center, and we have the Acorn. The Acorn is like a coffee shop, and the Good Life Center is just like a nice space to do things. Like non-technology, it's like a tech-free zone. And it's just like we have a lot of good like mental wellness. Oh, this
Hmm.
is what you're talking about. Okay, I see the
Yeah.
picture now. And this is called the Well, I think. It's underground, underneath Commons, the big dining hall. I think they serve drinks there, so I haven't interacted with it a lot, and it's only open in
Hmm.
like events and stuff. But yes, it is very nice, and they also have a cafe from across the way, and you can get some like gelato and stuff. You have to pay for it, but it's a nice place to study if you want some food and vibes.
For sure. It definitely seems like there's a lot of very cool food vibes and just vibes in general going on from these. Absolutely gorgeous. I want to take you back. It's always fun when I ask this question to people who I went to high school with. But do you have a moment from high school that you still think about, or like a memory?
I really think you mentioned Quiz Bowl, and that really
Mm-hmm.
made me start thinking about all the times that um, like we on the team had. I think just when like going to tournaments and stuff, the bus rides were always super fun. I remember there are a lot there. What's said on the Quiz Bowl bus stays on the Quiz Bowl bus. But also chess tournaments on the bus, or just being able the times like in between we doing things, just chatting, and like I think this is really why I valued going to a place that emphasized community, is that I've always enjoyed connecting with people. And maybe if I had to pick one specific thing is when JoJo jumped on the table holding the trophy. That was pretty iconic.
I was literally thinking about that. Like, as I was thinking about this question and thinking about talking to you, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely the memory that comes to my mind from Quiz Bowl. But I love that. That was such a fun experience. I just remember us sweeping the like junior varsity like tournament there, right? Where like I feel like we beat every team because like everybody got the same questions, but then we like answered all of them. It was just like you, me, and Joe, and I was like, just such a fun experience.
Yeah, that was, I think we got really lucky that time because I don't know how we did that either.
I don't know. It was just there was some luck to it. I think there was some skill. We all had played to our different strengths. It was such a great time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm probably gonna cut this from the podcast. The way that I want to take that trophy, like a little piece of me, because like, Kerner left, unfortunately. Like,
Yeah.
so like, I know the Quiz Bowl's back on again, but like, man, I won our junior varsity trophy.
Yeah,
Just
who's
like,
running Quiz Bowl now?
I don't know. I don't know who's running it anymore, but like, I know Mr. Green always talked about doing it, so maybe he's the guy behind it, but I don't know. But it is at least cool to see that it's still back at it again.
Yeah, definitely. I was sad to hear when Paris told me that it was not running for a little bit. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it was only, I think it was just a kind of a consequence of COVID and then everything
exactly.
else.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
definitely miss Kerner though.
Me too, man. He came, it was very nice. I got to see him at our like graduation party. Like he was able to be there and I was like super happy
Amazing.
about that. So, yeah. I want to ask you now, I love asking everybody this question. I'm building like a school survival playlist essentially. And so if you have a song that has gotten you through a moment of like school, high school, college, or anything you want to add to that, I'd love to hear it.
I don't actually listen to that much music, so I'm not really sure how to answer this, but I wrote one of my college application essays actually. I think it was one was like what's the song of your life right now? And it was really Tangled, the animated movie with like Rapunzel and Flynn and the horse and stuff. She sings the song called In the Beginning. It's called When Will My Life Begin? And it was really, she's like stuck in her
Yes.
tower and she's doing all these things and she's like, oh, like I'm just like reading these books all over again and just like doing all this stuff. But I really connected with it because she has a lot of similar interests that I do. Like she likes to play music and do art and read about things, and it was just cool to see that she was also feeling like I just want to see what's out there. So it's more of like the curiosity and getting excited for what's next.
I absolutely love that. That song was like, I think when I think back to early COVID, I think that song was one of my like anthems. Back when everybody was just in their house all the time, and it's just like, when will this go back to be like, when will my life begin again? But I think that that's such a great song. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but man, the Tangled soundtrack is so good. You can't go
I
wrong
watched
with
it
a lot of
again.
this Disney.
Yeah, I watched it again recently and it still holds up, you know? I think it's a really good like I don't know. It's a good girl power movie for the time, you know, because it some of the other princess movies are a little questionable, but that one's I think still seems to hold up mostly.
I think you're right. I think think that one and Princess and the Frog came out right around similar times, and Princess and the Frog has some of like issues, but I really love that film as well. As like I think they're great like girl power movies. I think they really like shifted the trajectory of like the Disney like animation Disney movie like genre for the future, which is great. Yeah. So really good times. We've made it to the last official question in my little questionnaire interview here, and I would just love to hear what you would tell your freshman self in high school and what you would tell your freshman self like at the start of last semester in college.
I think it's kind of similar to my ultimate tip, like just follow your passions, you know. I know a lot of people worry about like, oh, will this look good on my resume, or am I gonna like stand out enough, or will colleges like me, or will jobs like me if you're in college, or how can I get research or internships? And there's just all these things that are hanging over you from the future. But for what I found is it doesn't really matter as much as you think. Like I've moved a lot in my life, and I've had a lot of different changes and a lot of different possible trajectories that I can very much see like, oh, what if I had done this? Like my life would be so different. But I really think that everything works out. So just do what you want. You know, that's what I would tell myself. And that's what I tried to do. So I would just say, you know, don't stress about it. Don't worry about those other options. Like just choose what makes sense for you now, and everything will work out. And don't worry about the future, because that will work out too, as long as you're just, you know, happy with where you are and trying to get through what you're doing. As long as you're like enjoying it, that's the most important thing. You don't want to look back and be like, wow, this was like terrible because I didn't do anything I wanted to do. So definitely enjoy your time.
Yeah, I think that's such wonderful advice for college, for high school, for all of it. It is just there's a level of like nothing is ever too terribly deep. Like yes, there are deep stuff, but like there's a layer I think especially with this stuff where it's like okay, it's not that deep. Just go along and have fun with it and do what makes you happy. So wonderful pieces of advice. Thank you so much for coming on. The last question I want to ask: is there anything you want to plug or share or put out there, send people to?
I don't know. I think that I really enjoyed my time here at Yale. I feel like Ivy League colleges get a lot of bad rap for being really expensive or being like stuck up. And I have to say that the stereotypes are not true, though they have a grain of salt in that the history of these colleges, yes, have a lot of issues. But I think that with the new developments, if you're like considering applying to places like these, I would just definitely encourage you to go for it. And even if you're not, like they have a lot more of a generous financial aid policy than you might expect. You might see the sticker price and be like, there's no way. But they actually have like a very, especially Yale, a very generous financial aid policy. So it's never too much of a reach to just go for it. And yeah, just like I guess in the college process, just make sure that when you're applying and things like that, like look for what you want. Don't worry about the name. Like, yes, this college has a big name, but that's not why I picked it. That's not even one of the first reasons that I picked it. It was because it really matched with what I wanted to do. So just make sure that you're ending up in a place that you really would be comfortable.
Absolutely. Same thing I think went for me in Michigan. It was something where it's like, again, I think it has a bit of a name to it, but yeah, I am here because I wanted to be here because I really just connected with the school. So great. Absolutely. Totally hear all of that. If you, the listener, are looking to want to look into Yale further, I put the links and everything to all of the colleges on every episode in the description, so you can check that stuff out. I'll post a variety of very cool Yale pictures to the Instagram as well. So if you want to see that, it is at StucoPod on Instagram. If you have any questions, if you want to email us, our email is StucoPod@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. Eleni, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a joy to talk. Do you have any other closing remarks? Anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you so much for having me. And it's really nice to see you since it's been a long time.
It has been a while. I love this as a means of getting to connect, like catch up and connect with people. I just feel like it's so much fun to get to like have an hour to check in with everybody's lives and see how college is treating everybody. It's so much fun. So yeah, thank you. Until next time, my name is Ben Carter Dvorak, wishing you the best of luck and the best of times in all of your educational endeavors. The Student Council is adjourned.